So I hope everyone who wanted to be in time already joined. Others will be joined lately, but we will have a recording of this webinar. So I hope everyone who is interested will have a chance to listen to it. So today we are going to talk about adaptability, about strategy, and our topic is navigating the digital transformation, adopting your management strategy for success. Before we proceed, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Halyna Nayda. I hold the position of delivery director at the Agiliway company. I have more than 15 years of experience in IT sphere and project management, specifically about 8 years. I've got a lot of knowledge in project management techniques, and I think I can share my expertise with you. So I'm happy to talk to you today and share my knowledge. So let's start. Our agenda for today will be we will discuss why do you need to adapt and why it is important to adapt in the current situation. We will talk about adaptive strategy and what is actually what is adaptive strategy. We will talk also about types of changes which we may face in our work experience. I also would like to discuss with you how to recognize that you need to implement the change, how to know this. And we definitely discuss some best practices in my working experience and how I see this. Then we will briefly go through KPIs, how we can measure our effectiveness. And then you will have a chance to ask your questions and I'll be happy to answer it. You have a chat, so you can type your question there if you have any. So why do you need to adapt? If you look at this picture, I think a lot of you imagine like inside of this picture because we are moving very fast nowadays. Technologies are changed very fast. Our world is fast-paced. Every time, every day, something new appears. And with every day, with every year, our moving and movement are faster and faster. So what actually moves us? Technologies. As I mentioned already, new technologies appeared. So let's just, for example, mention here artificial intelligence, ChatGPT. So it's like new technologies, and every business would like to integrate this feature, would like to use this feature. And it's only about artificial intelligence, but we have a lot of other new technologies. And why do we need to adapt? Because we need to adapt to these new technologies if we want to be successful. Customer trends are changing. Yes, we are going to globalizations. We changed a lot. And this also impacts on our environment, and we have to take this into account. We need to adapt in time. New market regulations appears and unprecedented global crisis. So let's just also mention and recall here COVID times, 2008 economic crisis, wars. So all this impacts on us, and if we want to be successful, we just have to be prepared for a change, because it has to be one of your top priorities. Now let's talk a bit what is adaptive strategy concept itself means. Adaptability is an ability to adjust to changes in their environment. Adaptability creates new opportunities. Let's think about it. So, adaptability is your possibility to fit to changed environment. And if you are adaptable, you definitely are successful. You definitely will see new opportunities. And I also would like to discuss your change management concept. Why I'm talking right now about this concept and about adaptability and change management. For me, these two concepts, they just go all together. They go with each other aside. So change management is an approach that includes dealing with transition or transformation of organizational goals, core values, processes, and technologies. If you want to be adaptable, you need to know tools of change management. Change management is like an instrument for you to use to be adaptable and to have adaptable strategy in your business, in your project, in your day-to-day life, etc. So what's the problem? Problem and challenge is that usually people are resistant to change. Most of the people, it's according to Forbes, they just do not like changes at all. Even if these changes can make their life better, they just don't realize that these changes will change project, product, their life in a better way. And only 38% of people like to leave their comfort zone, and they see these opportunities. So this is important to remember while you are managing changes. And it's very important to communicate in time, to set a clear goals, why you are changing, why you're introducing such or this change, why it is important. That's why I'm mentioning this right now, and we will talk about communication a little bit later in this presentation, but it's important to remember and understand even right now. Let's also talk a little bit what types of changes you as a manager, as a leader can face every day, not every day, every year, and what actually these changes are. So first of all, there are typical standard changes. We can call them development changes. So it's very typical. We are facing with these changes as a managers usually every day or every week. What kind of changes these are? For example, postponing release, and we need to accept this change and to think on some ideas how we can improve and adapt to the fact that release is postponed. For example, we need to change some procedure to be better. So development change is any change in your company, in your project that improves and optimizes previous process, previous strategy, or previous procedure. So it's very normal change, and we are facing it from day to day. And for us as for managers, it's important to manage these changes as well. Then we have a, and what is worth to say here, that a risk if you failed, it's not a big. So if you will be not able to successfully do release or like adapt, that release is postponed. So project won't be failed, like your business won't fail. And that's why it's a low risk to your company and to your business that you will just lose everything. Then we can talk about transitional change. This is change that moves your company away from its current state to a new state. So here we can talk about some merging acquisitions, So culturals, a new state of the company. So it's an intermediate risk on a business. So you as a leader have to be more attentive to these changes, but it doesn't happen with the company on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, and it's not like very often situation. And there are others, like the highest urgent risk to your business, to a product and like company at all, changes which can cause urgent risk. What these changes are, for example, COVID, right? So it was very emergent situation. We had to be very careful to change because like environment was changed a lot, and we had to implement changes accordingly to survive in that situation. And not all businesses and companies survived during COVID time. So some of them survived and were quite successful, and some not. Some business just failed and just closed. That's why it's important to differentiate and to put like higher risk it is. We need to put higher attention on implementing changes and on communication of it. How we can recognize that changes are needed? Because when I told you that we are facing changes every day, maybe some of you can think, okay, how I can, why I need to change? First signal for me, first sign for me, it's a team is showing little results. Let's imagine a situation that you have the same team with the same structure, and now like you do not know these reasons why, but results and progress of the team is less than it was before. And it is not because of team, because I don't know their qualifications. So you know for sure that it's the same team. So what's happened? It's something, some change with impacts on this team. So you need to think, reassure, and analyze what has been changed, and probably to adapt your current procedure, your process, your strategy to the new environment. Staff is significantly growing. Again, if you are successful in your project, if you hold a successful business, typically staff is growing, and if it's significantly growing, so probably those methods, those procedures, those processes which were successful for you when you had a small team is not longer applicable to your team, to your project, to your company when you have a bigger, much bigger team. So you need to think about change. Project is shifting to a new technology platform. So if you are on the project and if you change your technology, again, it's time to think. Probably it's worth to change, to adapt to this technology. Probably it's time to review your strategy. So it's not always like must have to review, but it's time to think about this and to be sure that you are using the right strategy. It has been a long time since implementing something new. Yes, very interesting sign, but again, if it's really a long time past when you implement something new, probably it's time to think whether I can do better results. Maybe environment has been changed a lot and I'm still using waterfall. Why? It's like a joke example, but yes, a lot of companies in our sphere, so they could still use waterfall, but environment changed, and most of our businesses switched to agile models, right? And business goals have changed. I think this is obvious. So if you change your goals, you definitely need to think about changing your strategy, and this has to be signed for you that probably you need to review strategy to adapt and to implement new changes. So based on I have told on the previous slide, just to summarize, if you see that changes are needed, you have to reassess your goals. You have to analyze your data, compare options, test your assumptions, implement your changes, and review and learn, right? So this is important to remember. I also want to point that there are theoretical change management models that a lot of people used, and I think like I don't want to stop on them, but I want to describe you the most popular, and list here the most popular. It's Kotter's change management model, Atkar change management model, Levin's change management model. So, and there are a lot of more, and I just want to advise you to review at least these three models, because they are really they really are good, and you can use their like main concept of them. But if you analyze all of them, it's they have something very common in use. So first of all, you just, as I mentioned, you need to recognize, you need to acknowledge that you need a change. Then you need to set a clear goals, to communicate them, define what has to be changed, and change, right? So, and let's talk about my best practices, how we use it in our company, how I think it's good to use in your projects. So let's talk about best practices. First, if you want to do any changes, you need, as a team, as a manager, as a leader, you need to recognize and acknowledge that changes are needed. To do this, you can follow the previous recommendations I told you, I described you. Define goals and be honest and transparent with your team. Here, I would like to stop a little bit and talk with you about how important communications and goals are for the team at all. Once you define new goals for your strategy, you need to be very honest, very transparent with your team. You need to think about communication way, how to communicate these changes, these goals, this new strategy to the team. So, because as I mentioned before, most people are not, do not like changes at all. And to motivate them do these changes, you need to explain them as much as possible. Why we are changing, why it is needed, and what they are going to receive when we implement these changes. When you communicate it in the best way you can do this, you need to train and reassure your teams. To train, so your team need to know how they can gain these changes. So if this is a new technology, you need to prepare your team to use this technology, right? So maybe some trainings, webinars, I don't know, some knowledge sharing involving expert to the team. So everything you can do, you need to make your team confident that they can implement these changes. Encourage conversation and communicate regularly. Again, when you implement your change, you need to encourage different conversations, discussions, improvements, because when we have a brainstorming sessions, when we have a lot of discussions, especially if it's like a normal change development, change which we are facing from time to time, from delivery to delivery, from project cycle to project cycle. So it's not something significant that will impact on your business. You will not lose your business, but it's very good to have a good conversation and healthy conversation inside your team. Communicate regularly, very important item as well, because every time, like, it's good when you set a procedure, but it's very important to communicate it regularly. It's very important to remind your team, to remind yourself why we are doing this or that change. Listen to your employees. It's important to listen to your staff, to your people, to your team, because very often in these cases you can get a very valuable feedback on implementing on your strategy, and while listening discussions, probably you will realize that some changes and some strategies and goals can be reviewed, and it's at the end, this will definitely impact like in a better way on your project. Select the team of leaders to implement changes. It's important to have a team which is going to implement these changes. Why? Because if there are a lot of people and it's like hard to even to manage them, right? You need to select people you trust, people who like these changes, who understand your goals, who are the same values as yours, and they will be very motivated to implement changes, and they will motivate others to implement these changes. That's why it's important. Choose the right communication tool. Here you need to analyze your team members, your team, your people, how they used to receive information. For example, you may use just simple email communication, but if analyze recent times and like age of people, I think older people, for them it's okay to receive all communication via email. But if we talk about some young people, most likely they would like to receive and use information which are received from different Teams channels, like tools for chatting. So if you want your changes to be communicated regularly, correctly, and if you want to have to be sure that your changes are communicated, so just think on a better tool to communicate it. And maybe it's even makes sense to communicate it via mail, via all tools you have. I don't know, any other announcements, just in the office, in the kitchen, on a company meeting. So if it's important change, it's important to communicate it in a proper way. Empower your employees and encourage knowledge sharing. This is important because of motivation. If you are struggling to implement changes alone, most likely you won't succeed. If you implement changes as a team, you will succeed. And if you empower your employees, delegate some these implementations to them, they will be very motivated, and Why I'm talking here about also knowledge sharing, because there are different people. Some people receive information and understand information faster, some not. And if you encourage this knowledge sharing, you will also gain faster changes, and you will gain that you are moving as a company to the right point, to your goal. Reward and acknowledge. So when you implement the change, again, to make your team motivated, you just need to reward it and acknowledge that, yes, you are a cool guy, you did a great job. It's what I wanted from you, and it's very obvious, right, for everyone that if you are rewarded, acknowledged, so you will be more motivated to implement this particular change. So this is my maybe best practices in change management I wanted to share with you. Measuring effectiveness of your strategy, or in other words, KPIs. Very briefly about this, because it depends on change which you are implemented. If it's a regular change, or it's change which is implemented during a crisis. But if briefly, KPIs could be customer satisfactions, right? So if, for example, customer satisfaction KPI is growing, then probably you are moving in the right way. Speed to market or revenue growth. Again, very similar economic KPIs, which shows you that you are moving in the right way. And these three are mostly oriented on a external market, right, on your product. But there are also other KPIs I mentioned here. It's employee satisfaction and employee engagement. These values and KPIs are probably important for us when we implement some cultural changes, or when we are doing changes inside the company, and when we are changing some procedures, process, something to which people are used to use, yes, but you're changing this, and if you see that this KPI is better or is not so good, you can reassess how you implement your new strategy, how you implement your change. So this is basically, that's it, what I wanted to talk today with you. And we can go, to the question sessions and just answer your questions if you have any. Okay, we have a question. Is there any difference in managing changes between emergency and normal cases? I would say yes. And I think I already mentioned it, but maybe not like so I didn't emphasize. Difference is in importance in risk, because if it's emergency case, then risk of losing your company, risk of losing your business is very high. And when you implement a change, you need to be very attentive. And if you implement a change during emergency case, maybe sometimes you just be very directive. Probably it's not a time to encourage a lot of conversations and discussions. This is very important time for you. You just have to select people you trust, a team of leaders, communicate changes, maybe directly in a direct way, and then implement it with a very, very good communication, with a very honest and transparent communication. When we are talking about normal case, it's another situation. So you can allow democracy. You can allow your team to do these changes. You can encourage a lot of discussions, a lot of conversations. You can even change your strategy and your goals based on these discussions, right? Because maybe it's even sometimes worse to change your goal, and even if you know it's not the best way, but on other way you motivate your people, and for example KPIs of like employee satisfaction will grow up, right? So if it's a normal development change, it's not so high risk to lose your business. That's why you can allow yourself more democracy in your management style. So is there any other questions? So, okay, if no other questions, then we can finish our webinar. I hope it was useful for you and you gained some useful information. Anyway, you can listen again to the recording. Thank you all. Have a nice day, evening. Bye.